Welcome to the Informed and Oblivious podcast, episode 12. I'm Bedrot Phil, and this is Malding Raymond.
Malding?
Yeah.
What is malding?
Yeah, you're mad and balding.
Oh, okay. That's rude.
You're not actually balding. I just had to give it to one of us, because can you guess what we're going to talk about today?
My hairline receding, apparently?
No. No. I mean, we can if you want. Is that what you want to talk about? No. So we're going to talk about a little mix of things, but primarily we're going to be talking about the Kingmaker Asmongold.
Ah.
Yeah. But before we get into that, folks, as always, if you like what we do, like, subscribe, follow. Yeah, I'm a little messed up today. Leave a comment, and you could find us on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify. But yeah, I was going to talk today about the future and whatnot, but then I decided, you know what, who's giving me a little glimmer of hope for the future? I'm going to talk about Asmongold. Which I know sounds wild, but it's 2025, and the most prolific commentator out there right now is him, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. And people hate his guts so much, and I love it. Because he's like, did you ever see the Netflix social media documentary?
Nah.
Well, he's exactly like Netflix must have like called it like Idiot Savants, because they made a documentary about like social media and the dangers of it and whatnot, right? And because they didn't really want to like specifically be like, this is a left or a right problem, they went radical centrists. People hated centrists in there. And they're like in the documentary, like the extremists were the radical, like the centrists that got like radicalized online and whatnot. Because again, they were trying to be neutral. Like they didn't want to be like, oh, we're talking about like the left or we're talking about the right here. So they did radical centrists. But the funny thing is, Asmongold is a radical centrist, and I love it, and I love his commentary. And it's funny because people listen to him and they're like, oh yeah, he's definitely right wing, and I'm like, no, he's like left. He's left he's center, but like with a left bend. And I know because I tend to be center with a right bend. And I love it because he is exactly like me. He fucking hates everyone. and the thing that made me think of that recently was that the recent mayoral run in New York. Did you see that?
What about it?
Where the Islamic guy won and beat out Cuomo and all those other guys, and he's like super pro like socialism and just like wants to like publicize the grocery stores, wants to like super rent control things and all this other shit. But like everybody's hating on him because like, oh look, the socialist is going to ruin New York, and Asmongold's like, good. And people are like, what? He's like, dude. He's like, if I lived in New York, I'd vote for that guy 100%. He's like, because I'm tired of the status quo. And he's like, I will vote for the guy every time that will flip over the table than the guy that will keep the table as it is. He's like, will it be worse? Who knows? But at least the guy's going to try to change things.
Yeah.
And people are just like raging in his comment section about like, what are you talking about? This guy's going to ruin New York. He's like, who knows? But at least the guy cares about New York, because he brought up the debates. It was so funny because they were interviewing all of like the Democratic candidates. And I guess this is the thing. I don't know. Apparently it's customary for the mayor of New York to make an international visit, which, yeah, I know. Dumb as fuck, right? Like, why would any one of our mayors in any of our cities make an international visit? If anything, I would say it would be customary for the mayors of our largest cities to make a trip to DC. Like, I could see that. Like, okay, our largest cities make a trip to the federal government to meet their counterparts there. And even then, still a little weird. Like, maybe meet the governor, not the fucking, the head of the free world, but whatever. But, like, they asked all of them where they would go. And 3 of the 4 all said, yeah, I'm going to go over to Israel. And the last guy just said, yeah, I'm going to stay in New York City. And I'm like, yeah, but where would you go? And just like, New York, where I'm going to be elected to represent. Like, why would I go, like, anywhere else? And, like, people lost their minds over it. It's like, he wouldn't go to Israel, blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, but he also said he wouldn't go anywhere. It's not like he's like, yeah, I'd go to Iran instead. He was like, yeah, I'm going to stay in New York. And fucking Asmongold's comment section was losing it over the fact that he's like, yeah, I'd vote for that guy every time. It's like, yeah, I kind of see his point. Like, you don't want to vote for the status quo. You want to vote for somebody that's going to change the wheel. Just like, good old Game of Thrones, Daenerys Targaryen. I'm not gonna rotate the wheel. I'm gonna break the wheel. Well, maybe she's not the best example for a political change, but she tried. She tried. Got a little knife to the heart, but she tried. Which that was
terrible ending to that.
Yeah, but I was laughing because I saw like a thing Trump was talking about to the other day too, like that Asmongold was reacting to, and he was talking about how like he's like 1/50th of 1% of rodeo like riders die in that profession, and he's like the percentage death rate of presidents like 5%. He's like, maybe I wouldn't run if I realized how dangerous it was. And I was like, well, I guess on balance he's not wrong. Yeah. I was like, that's a weird way to think about it, but I was like, you think like, oh yeah, the president's probably the safest job in the country, and they're like, well,
there's not a whole lot of jobs that actually make you a target for assassination.
Yeah. I was like, I never really thought about it like that. I was like, I guess it is fairly dangerous to do that job.
There's a reason they've got 24/7 security.
Yeah. I was like, I guess he's got a point. But the reason why I was thinking about Asmongold with like thinking about the future, because I was watching all our like brain rot fucking content online again, and like how like everything now is just stupid scrolling videos, sex selling online like crazy, just mind numbing content, and like to some extent that's always what entertainment and humanity's been. But like I'm watching all this, I'm like, are we like fucked as a society? Like, where are we going? And then I watch Asmongold, and I'm like, no, we're good. Like, there's still people out there fighting the good fight, and just hate it on all sides because he has like reasonable, I consider him reasonable and rational positions on a lot of things. Like where he's just like, yeah, he's like, leave your feelings out of it and use objective or like reasoning for this stuff. But two, he's also like the antithesis of like what everybody thinks a successful person should be, and he's still successful. That's why I call myself Bedrot Phil today, because like fucking he is like I think it's gotten a little bit better for him, but he's like straight up like hoarder status.
Yeah.
And he had an incident like a couple, it might have been a month or two ago actually, where like something was up in his attic and he had to go up there and he like fell through his like attic ceiling.
Oh shit.
And like not all the way through, but like he stepped through because he's got one of those ones where you got to step between the risers, and he misstepped. And it made him realize, he's like, man, he's like, if somebody had to like come in here and rescue me, I'd be fucked. Because like the whole thing was like, fuck. So he's going to get like some professionals, I guess, to come in and like help clean up and everything. But the guy like lives in that. He's lived in like a fucking house that he's owned for fucking years now. He fucking drinks soda and eats steak every day. That's like all he fucking does. Like they did a video of him like trying like different vegetables and stuff, and he was just like spitting the shit out. It's like, what is that? He's like, that's so gross. But like that guy is a fucking multimillionaire.
Uh-huh. He doesn't do anything with his money except play games and comment on shit.
Well, he doesn't even play as much games anymore. It's like now, like more often than anything now, he's like reacting to like political stuff and just content online. Which is actually like really cool because he gives, I like that he gives like a more centered take on things. And like because you know me, I'm online listening to too much shit all the time. That's part of the reason why we started this podcast. My brain's full of fucking nonsense. There's so much left and right wing bias that like I listen to this guy, and I love it too because
it's hard to find anything without it.
Yeah, and I listen to fucking Asmongold, and I'll get the way his comment section is too. Like, I'll fall into the rage baity thing, and then you just listen for like 5 more seconds, and then he swings it back around the other way. You're like, oh yeah, he's kind of got a point. And I like that. Like fucking like he's like getting the like the ebb and flow, but I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the fact that he reacts to that shit like live with the chat in there too, so he gets to respond to the chatters. Sometimes he tells him to fuck off. Sometimes he goes, oh yeah, you guys are right.
Yeah, but I also do love that his chat is like a very mixed audience group. Obviously, not too many women, but there are some women that listen to Asmongold, which is kind of wild. And he's reacted to like the videos of his fans that are females before. And the other kind of wild thing is his female fans are kind of hot. Like you wouldn't expect it at all. You're like, what the fuck? But okay. But no, he's got like Gen Z. He's got millennials. Like the core of his audience is like millennials. But he does have a decent amount of Gen Z, and he's got some like Gen Xers listening to him too. So he's got like the nice mix match of like the younger generation, older generation, like middle generation listening about like politics and stuff. And it just like again, I like watching it because it gives me hope for the future that things can change to a certain degree one way or the other, because there's a lot more fucking people out there feeling the same way, that the system is broken and something needs to change. I don't know which way. Could be a lot worse, but change is always bad till you do it.
Is it?
Yeah. We're like ingrained socially to resist change. That's why it's so hard to do things like quit your job or move to another like state, or like even like change up like your daily routine. Like we are creatures of habit, and the things that deviate from that habit, we instinctually go, this is bad. This is going to be bad. Look at all the bad things that could happen, because we're risk avoidant animals, and we kind of had to be because of like how like we societally grew up.
Like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, not just in this country, like every country, every like, because humans come out the womb vulnerable, and because of that fact, we're a little bit more risk avoidant than like other creatures are. We take risks later, like when we grow up. There's that really short period of time where the hormones rage and we go nuts. But like, and like once we become adults, we're very risk avoidant. Like as soon as that fucking prefrontal cortex finishes growing, whatever reason, people go into like, not gonna do that mode. But speaking of risk avoidant, which is a fun fact I learned the other day.
Yeah.
Did you know there's a fucking birth defect that some people have where they physically cannot feel the fear emotion?
Whoa. What does that turn people into?
Probably awesome fucking killing machines is what it turns them into. Like not in the context of like, well, probably war now, but back in the day, that was probably like a mutation that was necessary for fucking tribes hunting very dangerous prey in the areas that they were in. So like you got to think like maybe you're in an area where like everything that you need to eat for sustenance is dangerous. So like eventually one of your ancestors just shuts that fucking mechanism off, and then that gets like spread down through your genetics to your offspring. And then suddenly you got a fucking tribe out there that's just like, yeah, fuck it, we're going in full guns blazing.
How do you like record that as a thing that happens to someone?
We just know the part of the brain that it's in, and like certain things have happened where we study people's brains and we realize that like, oh, you have no like fear response at all. I don't know how they like figured it the fuck out, because it's not as easy to tell as the thing like there's that rare condition where you don't feel any pain.
Yeah, like physical pain. Yeah. There are a couple instances of like how that works, whether it's like a nerve disease or whatever, but
yeah. This is just like a brain defect where you don't feel fear at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like so the people that they've studied with that, like who are they? What did they do in their lives?
Well, the weird part is, I don't know. I just saw the fun fact about it, but I could go in the rabbit hole on that and look it up, I guess. But the funny part about it, I think they were saying, is that you don't get the fear response, but you still get the adrenaline rush, which is like super awesome. So like you think about like all those adrenaline junkies, like I wonder what percentage of them don't have the fear response, and that's why they love it,
or at least a diminished aspect.
Well, yeah, but think about that. Like, if you had like the ability to trigger things that coursed the adrenaline through your veins, but you felt no fear, it would probably be like a fucking massive rush.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be why people jump out of planes and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, if that fear response is broken and you just go for it all the time, that's probably how like those people come about, to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking sick.
Yeah, I wish there was a way to like quantize that. See how many people are just crazy and how many people just can't feel fear.
Well, I mean, you need a little bit of both. like every like weird quirk that humanity has had some reason for it, like, out there in the world. Even like well, man, I shouldn't say everything. I should say everything. A lot of things that we develop had like utility back in the day. Like having psychopaths in your society is beneficial when you're warring tribes. You need somebody that has like no qualms with just going out there like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking loot, raid, and pillage everything I see, and don't give a fuck who's in front of me. But you also need the flip side of that too, the caregivers, to be like, I'm gonna treat everybody and empathize with everybody regardless of what's going on with them, because otherwise, then you don't get medicine, you don't get shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The first one just reminded me of that I saw a TikTok of a fucking YouTube short of a comedian earlier today. He's like, yeah, so I like to interact with the people, the homeless guys with the cardboard signs, depending on what the signs say. I went by this one couple, and the sign said, "We need gas," and then they're also holding a gas can. So I walked up to him and I said, I don't have any money to give you, but if you want, I can take the gas can and go and get you some gas at the gas station and come back. And they said, no, we stay with our gas can. And I'm like, well, all right, come on. And then I finally convinced them by saying, hey, you can stay here and keep making money while I go get the gas. And they said, okay. And they gave me the gas can, and I started driving towards the gas station, and that's how I got a new gas can. These people had nothing, and I took what they had. Very, very funny bit, but yeah, some people don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and you kind of need that. You need that to like propel society forward. Like, I think a lot of the psychopaths in the world are fucking the businessmen out there, because like, dude, as fucking we both know from being in management positions previously, it's hard to fucking sit there and write people up and fire them. Like, it doesn't feel good. But like, there's some people in business roles that just like, they don't give a fuck at all. Like, yeah, they might get off on it, but there's some people who are just like, we don't need them anymore.
That's life. See ya.
Yeah. And
it's harsh.
Yeah, I just don't have it in me, man. Like I'd like to. I know like when certain things like that are wrong, but like I empathize with people way too much to be like, yeah, here you go. Here's a write up for being a piece of shit. It's like, but the problem is like some people need that. And like, you need to be firm with people like that. I know, like, if I ever had kids one day, I would struggle with that aspect so much, because I know kids need punishment. You need to punish your kid to a degree, even if it's not like physical, something like that, like verbally correcting them. And I would feel terrible doing it. And I know other parents feel that way. I would talk to people I know who have kids, and they're like, "Man, dude, like punishing the kids it like hurt me more than it hurt them." And I'm like, "Yeah, I could totally see that." You're like, "Man, it's my tiny little offspring, but I got to stop them from being a piece of shit."
My parents had told me stories of like having difficulty punishing me, because like, whereas they would put my sister in timeout and she'd sit in the corner and face the corner and cry, they put me in timeout and I'd be like, "Well, there's nothing keeping me here," and I'd get up and walk away. My parents were against hitting me, so they're like, "What do we do?"
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be tough, but I feel like they say like a lot of things change like when you have kids anyway. So like maybe that's just like an aspect where you're just like, all right, well, now I gotta keep.
Kid changes your brain chemistry somehow.
Yeah, I gotta keep this little tiny human in line. So. What was the comedian talking about with like Michael Jackson? Like it's a fine line between hitting your kid enough where he comes up with Thriller and hitting him too much where he's sleeping with little kids in his bed.
Bo Jackson just crossed a little too far over that line.
Yeah. It's like it's a fine line to dads.
Where were we? Oh yeah, Asmongold.
Yeah, I know. Asmongold, the future. It's a little random. But yeah, I love that he like grew up just fucking and became popular by playing World of Warcraft, which I think is where he gets a little bit of his Gen X audience from. Because like when he broke into like playing that and doing that and streaming that, he was like on the beginning end of that, which as we both know, because that was a monthly subscription thing, unless your parents were on board with paying that, you weren't getting that as a millennial till you were actually like making money and could afford to pay for that fucking game. Because dude, if I had told my parents growing up, "Hey, can you give me a monthly subscription to a video game?" They would have been like, "What the fuck did you just say to me?"
We already bought the game. What more do you want?
Yeah, it was hard enough to convince them to like buy me games when I was a kid, just because my dad was like so staunchly against it. Because I beat him at it. Motherfucker hated that I was good at video games and he wasn't. I know it.
He put that shit in the basement and said, "Don't touch it."
No, worse than that. Like so, like so it was so funny. Like my dad bought the PlayStation 1. That was the first video game system we had. I found out years later he bought it because he was sick at the time with like the flu or something. I didn't know. I was a kid. He bought it because he was sick. I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna buy this thing and play this thing because he had had an Atari when he was growing up, and like included on my grandfather's house. Like we found the old like Atari that he had.
Dope.
Yeah, I looked it up. They're not worth shit.
It's still cool to have, though.
Yeah. So like he played like the Atari, and he thought like, oh, it's gonna be like that, and like so he played PlayStation, and like he had the Crash Bandicoot game was the game that he got with it, and he sucked at it. He just couldn't do it. And then like I don't know, I guess because I was a kid and probably at home while he was sick, and I started playing it, and I did okay at it, and he was so mad. And like from that point on, my dad hated fucking video games and hated whenever I played video games.
My parents didn't mind me playing video games, really.
Well, the other problem was we had one TV. So like whenever my dad got home, he didn't want to like sit there and watch us play video games. He's like, "Fuck you! I would put on the TV." Yeah, but he wanted to channel surf, which drove like the rest of us nuts in the opposite direction. Like, dude, when we only had one form of entertainment in the house, my dad controlling the remote was the fucking worst.
Pick a thing.
Dude, he would not. He would just constantly, and then because like this was before the channel guide and whatnot, he would forget where certain things were that we were watching. We're like, go back. He's like, where? I'm like, I don't know. You changed it like 8 channels ago. Like, it's not like he would, like, if you switch between 2 channels, I understand that. It was the age of commercials. You don't want to watch a commercial. I totally get that one. He'd be like flipping between like 6 different things. Dude, what are you doing? Fucking like, we're all like, I was watching that. No, you weren't. Pfft, what the fuck?
Yeah, not so much of that. I initially had to fight with my sister over what we were going to watch. Just, we took turns controlling the remote.
Yeah, the only video game thing that like changed later, and that was the only video game system that he bought me, like specifically. When I got the PlayStation 2, I bought that myself. I saved up and paid for it with my own money. He bought me a Game Boy Color. That was like one that he got me for my birthday, and that was great. That was a game changer. I could just sit there on the couch, but then he would get annoyed that I was sitting there on the couch playing like the little. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I'm just playing my game, man.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. What am I doing? I'm just getting Pokemon. Leave me alone.
Yeah, my parents were usually pretty chill about me playing games. They didn't really play themselves. I think the first time like I actually had to play a game with my dad, he hadn't played since like NES or whatever. They initially got that, and then I wound up with the NES. You know, I played it more than they did, but it was trying to play Halo with my dad. he spent more time looking at the ground or the sky than anything else.
Yeah. It's not a very like instinctual thing.
It's like, how do I move around?
Like, well, you got one stick controls the look, one stick controls the move. What? But yeah, no, that shit just annoyed the piss out of me. But he hated it mostly because like I'd spent no time doing homework and I was always playing video games. Just because I hated homework. Homework sucked.
And you enjoyed video games.
I did. I enjoyed them a lot. But it was so funny because like the contrast to that was like I remember one cousin growing up had like all of the video game systems all the time, and like never an issue with like what I played with him. But as soon as like I was me by myself, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Do something productive. Now, mind you, while my dad is telling me to do something productive, he's sitting there watching fucking TV.
Uh-huh.
It annoys me as much as like when you got a girlfriend and your girlfriend's like, you never spend time with me, and then to spend time with you is you sit there on the couch watch a TV. It's like, oh, okay, so I can't play video games with my friend because you want me to what? Sit in silence watching the TV with you? What the fuck? God damn it, so annoying. And like, my mom and my sisters annoy me with that a little bit too. Sometimes we're gonna watch TV, and I'm like, shit comes on, and I have no idea what the fuck is going on. So I'm gonna ask questions because like they're watching reality TV. I'm like, what's the deal here? They're like, stop asking so many questions, but I don't understand.
But yeah, then bring them to watch Star Wars.
Well, that's not a good comparison
Well, I
because
know,
my
but-
mom loves Star
yeah.
Wars.
Just pick a what, Indiana Jones, maybe? I don't know. Pick a man thing. But
Yeah, yeah.
what's this? Who's that? What's happening?
No, that's more of it. That's more my dad. My dad does that with like the Star Wars and Marvel shit. He's like, he has zero clue what the fuck's going on. It's really funny. My mom was the fucking nerd and got me into like all the nerdy things, and then my dad was just like, "The fuck is that?"
I see when your dad's asking questions like that, the fun thing to do would be to give him wrong information.
You wouldn't know. You wouldn't care. Fuck it. But yeah, I do think that's funny that I watched like every single Star Wars movie with my mom because my mom watched the original Star Wars movies with her dad.
Huh.
Yeah. My grandfather took my mom to like Star Wars in theater when it came out, and they watched the original ones, and then we watched the prequels together,
Mhm.
and then watched all of the new Star Wars too, and I really hated them, and so did she. We were like, what the fuck?
I didn't hate him.
Eh,
Hate's a strong word.
because the first one wasn't bad. We liked the first one. The first one was pretty good. The second one was just like so disjointed because they switched directors midway through. And then the third one was just like a way of trying to reconcile the fact that like you were back to the original director and kind of like, and we're like, so this whole story has been about the Palpatines?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing where we're like, sorry, spoilers, I guess. But, you know, if you haven't seen fucking all the Star Wars by now, like, that's not really on me. But yeah, like, at the end of it, we're like, really? Is it fucking Palpatine? Is what this whole thing? So it hasn't been about the Skywalkers at all. It's been about the Palpatine. And we're like, I didn't really like that. But like
it was not as satisfying.
Yeah, but
conclusion to the story.
But the first one wasn't bad. I didn't mind the first one. Everybody was like, "That's such bullshit" with the way that like they did certain things. I was like, "Eh." There's my beef with the second one, and not the fact that they used hyperspace to just obliterate this massive star destroyer. I thought that was cool. Like that you could remove the fucking hyperspace like safeties and basically kamikaze a fucking ship. It's pretty sick. I like that. But no, my issue with the second one was that whole stupid subplot where they went to the fucking gambling planet to do this whole thing that accomplished zero.
So out of place. Yeah.
If they had not left the ship at all, the result would have been the exact fucking same. Just so I'm like, what was the point of that? And the whole not bringing the guy in on the plan that you were doing the whole time was also dumb as fuck. They're like,
I mean, it's a George Lucas IP.
Not at that point.
Yeah, I know. But
yeah, but like
taking any of the Indiana Jones movies, you could have not had Indiana. Same result.
Well, yeah, no, I know, but it was really dumb. Like they focused so much on that subplot, and it did nothing. And I'm like, what? Why? Why did we do this?
Character development.
Ugh. I guess. I also really hated that they was John Boyega's character Finn? Was that the name of his character?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really hated that they hinted at the fact that Finn was probably Lando's kid and probably force sensitive, and they did nothing with it. I feel like they did him such a fucking disservice. Fuck the girl that he ran off with in that second plot. Bro, the dude was handling a fucking lightsaber and a lightsaber duel with a force sensitive person in the first movie. They could have made him a Jedi and it would have been awesome. And you know what would have been even more awesome? If fucking like Lando recognized Finn as his kid and the lightsaber that they handed him, fucking Mace Windu, bring back the purple lightsaber, baby. That would have been fucking sick. Been like here's a lightsaber from a friend of the family from back in the day. And have it be like Lando was tied with fucking Mace Windu. That shit would have been sick as fuck, dude. And people were like, oh, shut the fuck up, the two black guys together. That would have been amazing. It would have been fucking amazing. Like Finn fucking there with Rey, like just gangster style. That would have been fucking awesome. But no. Instead, we got fucking Crybaby Finn. And I was like, this is fucking lame. Why? Why did they do that to us?
Nah.
I don't know, man. It had such potential to really hurt my soul. But you talk for a second. I want to text my old man because he just called me, and I'm like, because they're at the shore right now. So, and we're back. Freaking, yeah. Still drives me nuts. Call somebody back immediately, and then they don't answer. It's like, why the fuck did you call me?
Another 10 minutes, he's gonna call you again.
Too bad. I told him I'm fucking recording. Fuck off. That shit like always drives me nuts. Fucking my old man has always done that to me and my family. Why don't you ever answer your phone? Why don't you ever answer your phone, motherfucker? Every time I call that guy, I never get an answer. And he's got 2 phones. I call him on his regular phone and his work phone. Never an answer. Me, I got 1 phone. I might not answer a phone call, but if you fucking text me, I'll text you back. God, I hate that shit so much. Just fucking text me first. Be like, hey, can you give me a call? Sure, I'll give you a call at this time.
I answer phone calls.
Boomer. I hate that shit so much, man.
Especially now that I have the volume of my phone on. It fucking drives me nuts.
Dude.
But I have to have it on because they need to be able to get a hold of me at work. And like if it's on vibrate, if I'm doing something, I'm not going to notice.
I know, but like it just like phone calls drive me nuts because I can't multitask when you phone call me. Like if you call me, then my attention is solely on you in that moment. Which, if it's something important, I don't mind. But like if you call me like in the middle of something and like it's not important, it just aggravates the piss out of me. Yeah. And for certain friends and family, if they call me, I will always answer because I'm like, fuck, what if something's going on? But then when nothing's going on, it just irks me.
You didn't answer the last time I called you.
You were
asleep.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I wasn't awake yet. I called you as soon as I woke up and saw it. Fucking water was broken. Damn it. Stupid pressure valve. Fuck, man. They don't make shit like that anymore, though. That fucking well pump has existed since this house was made in 1952. Like, dude, that well pump's got to be replaced. I got to replace that fucking well system. And now, guys, welcome to the segue of this old house. But like, I got to replace that. But when I replace it, I'm gonna tell the guy that comes out, be like, dude, don't throw the pump away. What were you marking that for?
Don't worry about it. You'll see when I'm done.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna be like, don't throw the pump away. I want to keep it. I like because that thing's like a relic right now. Like that, like seriously, that fucking. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'm gonna figure out something to do with it, like to turn it into like an art piece or something. But like fucking like, dude, that pump is legitimately like over 70 years old.
That's incredible.
It's fucking wild, man. That thing has been pumping fucking water forever.
Yeah. There's a guy I watch on YouTube. He's great. I wish I could remember what his handle is. But he starts every video with like, "You want to see something cool?" I've shown you some of his stuff before, and like he always goes through like old tech stuff or old electronics or whatever. But he works at like a power facility or something like that, so he's always showing like, you know, the shit that keeps the city running, and it's like 100 years old of like falling apart machinery. And he's like, yeah. So we do this, then we switch it over to that, and we send that out for repair. Like, God damn, it's awesome that shit's still working. Oh
yeah, dude. I was talking to the guys at work about the shit that we used to like fucking repair and it made me nostalgic. I miss that work so much. I love doing that shit. I really do. And fucking that's why I'm kind of jealous of what you're kind of doing now, because to a certain extent it's a little bit like that to a degree. But like
we got some old shit there.
Yeah, but I was telling them about the old Westinghouse PLCs. Do you know those fucking things? The big blue monsters?
The brittle plastic ones?
No. No, these ones were in a solid... They were about, like, yay big, and the top was, like, a big blue square, and then the bottom was... The PLC was multiple, like, I.O. board cards. So, like, the top was a big power brick. Like, you could probably, like, look it up real quick. Look up, like, old Westinghouse PLCs.
Alrighty.
Because just so you could get, like, a scale of, like, what it looked like. move your internet to one window and opens on the other window. House PLC.
These guys? Yeah.
Well, no, the bigger version. That's the rack. The other ones like that. Like those big like card version ones.
Yeah.
So like there was
these fucking ones.
No. The blue guys that's an expansion module actually. It's that series of PLCs. So the one's not expansion modules, because I could tell it's an expansion module because it's not an all-in-one, but it was like that. It was that massive. And on the top is like a big brick power supply. And then you had the individual PCB boards that like made up the PLC. And I was telling them about like fixing those with the controller for that we used to call Mr. Jitters. And we called it Mr. Jitters because like to get it to work. Oh, there's a picture of it there, I think, kind of. The Eden. No, that's an Eden. Oh, no, there it is. The on the left. See the NL? Yeah, that was Mr. Jitters. That was the only way to connect and program those things.
Yeah.
So it's like the old like dial in like the screen kind of like TVs. That's what those knobs are there for. One's power and one like dials in like the focus of like so like half of the fun was just getting the stupid programmer to work. We called it Mr. Jitters because you have to like the screen was all jittery and you used to have to slap the shit out of it to get it to work.
Call that percussive maintenance.
Yeah, and for a short period of time, I remember the screen like had like died, and so like I got them to work and fix them because I remembered what the key sequence was to press. So I would do it and clear it, and if it worked and it went into a run, we were good. And then just one day the screen came back again. We were like, all right, cool, it works. But I was like telling him about fixing those things, and he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, yeah, that's the shit running the power grid and like all these old factories still. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, they're not replacing that shit. Yeah. Like, you know how much it costs to overhaul that stuff in order to get that up and running again? There's no fucking way.
It would be not only very expensive, but also timely process to upgrade all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, because I told him about, he's like, what do you mean you didn't know what stuff did? I'm like, some of it we didn't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? I was like, well, you got to understand that the business model was basically you send it to us and let us try to fix it or put in a new $2 million machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I told him, I was like, imagine if you couldn't afford to buy a new car, but the place you sent the car to get fixed, your current car, they would continue to try to fix it over and over and over again as long as you wanted to send it back. What would you do? Like, but yeah, I miss those things, dude. Like working on that stuff. Oh, dude, that one's got the handheld version. That was fancy shit, dude. Like, Westinghouse is crazy. Westinghouse is another group that like got bought out and like because we were talking about the Square D things. And again, this old house, folks. The well water in our house went out the other day because the stupid pressure contactor failed. And because we are electronically inclined, I was able to temporarily fix it. Mm-hmm. But Square D is no longer Square D, bought out by Schneider Electric. And the pressure switch is not made by Schneider Electric. It's an offshoot of Schneider Electric, Telemechanique.
Yep.
So now you know. And now half of you are asleep and the other half are confused. But don't worry about it. Just know it's nerdy and I could fix stuff.
This is informed and oblivious, not asleep and confused.
Yeah. But like, if you live in an older house, folks, prepare to be handy or have deep pocketbook, because fucking it's expensive to live in an old house.
Tear it down, build a new one.
New houses are worse. Fucking like, it's pick your poison. I'd be so mad because new construction now fails in like 3 years. I'd be even more mad if I bought a new house and I was fixing it in 3 years than I am in a house built in the 50s and I got to fix shit. At least I understand that. Like, all right, whatever. It's old. Fucking fix it. But yeah, I'm so sad. I'm going to keep that pump. I really am. I'm going to do something with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Turn it into an art piece.
Yeah, I've got to put it somewhere.
Do one of those things or like, how people like turn engines into tables?
That's what I was thinking. Turn it into like an end table or something. It'd be super cool. and like get it like refurbished and like repainted so like it's all like shiny and new, and just like fucking have it there as a nice little like art. Like, what's that? That's the fucking pump that pumped water in this house for decades.
Half a century.
Mm-hmm. And when I do that, I'll finally do the thing I wanted to do with my old snowboard too. I want to turn my old snowboard into a fucking like art piece too at some time, with like all the photos of like all the places I went like snowboarding over the years with that snowboard before it broke in the Canadian Rockies.
Do you still have any of the other ones that broke?
What do you mean? That was the first snowboard that I had.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, how many of your old boards do you still have?
No, that's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
I've only had 2. Well, technically 3. I never ride that little Ultra Fair board. I've never really rode that. I rode that board like once and then never again.
I was gonna say make a chair out of them if you got enough material, or something like that.
Maybe I could, but no. I've only had the 2 snowboards. Again, 3 if you count the one I never really rode. Which maybe I'll break that one out this year if I lose enough weight. That was the problem. That board is so small and so flexible that like at my weight it's flexible. But like if I get down to what I want to get to, I could use that little board on the mountain. It'd be fun. It's a nice little fun board. It's not meant for speed though. You go too fast on that small board, you get the fucking speed wobbles, and it's kind of terrifying. But like I could have fun in the park. I could butter on that, no problem. That board is so like flexy.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I've only had 2 boards now, working on the 3rd. And like it's not like this board that I have now is broken. It's just clearly it's at the end of its life and it needs I need to replace it. Because I think that board is like the board that I have now is fucking what? That's like 7 or 8 years old now. Because I'm trying to think, when did I go to? Because I went to the Canadian Rockies before I left the last place. So that was pre 2017, or maybe it was the. Hold on, let me look at my photos. Let's see what I took.
So it doesn't matter. It's time for a new one.
Canadian Rockies. When was this picture taken?
With your rusty edges.
Yeah. Details. Oh no, that was January. Oh, really? That's when I did that? So that winter of 2017 is when I went to the Canadian Rockies.
Okay.
Yeah, so that board is now 7 years old because I would have got it for the next season.
Yeah.
So it's time to replace it.
The first time I actually went on a trip was after I had moved.
Yeah.
And you'd only done, what, 1, 2 before I started going with you?
No. So the Canadian Rockies was the 3rd trip that I went on. So I went to Breckenridge, then I went to Whistler, and then I went to did the 2 weeks in the Canadian Rockies.
Gotcha. Okay. And then after that is
after that is when you came with me.
Yep. Right after I moved.
I think that's when we went to Whistler, right? Our first trip was to Whistler.
Yep.
I love that place. Magical. Magical.
Which I have as a printed fake painting behind me up on the wall.
I know, it's amazing.
and it's still my computer background too.
And this year we're going to Vail, boys.
Woohoo! It'll be a blasty blast.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the largest resort in the USA.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
So Vail's going to be fun. Where we still have to go, and I still have not gone to, is what is that stupid place?
What?
Oh, it's in Washington. There's no resort near it. They call it the snowboarding Mecca. It gets more snow than any other mountain in the U.S.
The Big Bear?
No,
Baker?
No. Baker, I think is what it is. Yeah, Baker, Washington. Yeah, Baker, Washington. They get over 500 inches of snow a year.
Ooh. Yeah, it was Baker, it was not last year, but the year before, where it was like piled up over or maybe it was last year. Yeah, one of them was like literally over the ski lifts.
Yes, yeah. They get, but the problem is because it's in a national forest, it's no resort town. So like the closest thing you could stay like to it is like log cabins that are like an hour and a half away.
Wow.
Yeah, I still want to go there one
Yeah.
day. I really do. But well, maybe that's not this coming year, but maybe the next season is something we look into doing.
Okay.
That or Japan. We'll need to do Japan. Yes. Mount Ryut. I want that Japanese powder. It looks so good. It looks so good, and the nice thing is like
that sounds bad.
what?
I want that Japanese powder.
Dude, it's supposed to be light and fluffy. Like it's akin to like they say the snow in Hawaii is amazing. Fun fact, folks, there's snow in Hawaii. There's no ski resorts, but you can go snowboarding in Hawaii. They'll take you up there like with like cats or whatever.
Mhm.
The danger is though the snowboarding is only on volcanic rock. So if the snow isn't deep enough, you can cut the fuck out of yourself and your snowboard because it's basically like obsidian glass. It is so sharp, those fucking rocks. But apparently some of the best snow in the world is on the mountains in Hawaii.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What makes that snow so good?
I think just because of how light it is. So like they get the snow, but I guess the moisture content isn't so high, so it's like very light and fluffy. So like the ideal powder is that like very, very light, very fast, very fluffy snow. Like Whistler's fun, but Whistler has that heavy wet snow that like we get over here on the East Coast. Like that brag snow.
When I got stuck in the powder.
Yeah. So the ideal snow is like Hawaii is like Japan, where it's very light, very fluffy. So like you don't lose momentum when you're in the powder. Like whereas like here on the West Coast, like even in like if we go to Baker is going to be the same thing. It's like heavy wet snow, so you get dragged in it. But it's so much it doesn't matter. But you can't go backcountry because if you get backcountry and you get stuck, they will fine you $500 to $1,000 to come get you.
Dang.
They have signs everywhere. They're like, if you go off trail and we have to come get you, we'll do it, but you're gonna pay for it. And I'm like, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I got to do, but we're gonna have to wait for you to get more vacation time, dude. I want to go to some of these South American resorts like Chile and whatnot. They look amazing, but it's the opposite time of year. But that's not bad because that means we could do a winter and summer vacation.
Yeah, New Zealand would be fun.
We're not allowed in.
Yeah, well.
Purebloods aren't allowed in. New Zealand's okay, but like that's a long ass flight away. Like I've been looking at a lot more of these like Chilean resorts, and they're fucking amazing. Like, and I'd rather go down to Chile. It's a shorter flight. One, it's easier to get to the stuff, and it's way cheaper. Like if we went to New Zealand, I think New Zealand is like comparable to the U.S. dollar, if not like it costs more to go there. Like I'd rather go to Chile, where like I think the exchange rate is like we're like double. Like look up like USD to like Chilean currency, like what that rate is.
Let's find out.
Not China. What is chili powder? Yeah.
I don't know what that actually equates to effectively, though.
Well, considering we're 1,000 times their currency, I think we'd be okay. Like,
it's hard to like know what the currency equates to, though. You know.
Just look up a Chilean ski resort and see like how much it would cost for like a day ticket. Then you know. I love that you spell chili like chili and not like with the fucking E, like the country. You spell it like the fucking food.
I don't know how to fucking spell it. Fuck you.
There's an E, dude. Chile.
Now I know that. I don't think I'd ever typed chili out before.
Oh, yeah. Valle Nevado. That's like a massive fucking resort there.
Ticket. Yes, that's what I like to do. Check prices and categories. Where?
Yeah, fucking hit the lift ticket. You fucker. Go down and there's like ski a day. There you go. A $97 US, dude.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. To ski the equivalent resort here is double that price. Look, even that with like the kids lesson is $23, bro. Ski and rent. Oh, that $97 for the pass and to rent.
With the rental. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Good. Oh, so these are all the ski day combos. Bro.
Where's
Gear and the rental, $40. Gondola plus fast food, $63. Like, yeah, we could make a Chilean ski vacation happen.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Valley Nevada is like awesome. We just need to use our Duolingo and learn some Spanish. We got. Senor, ski.
There's a lot of people at work that speak Spanish. It has been a consideration.
But yeah, so there you go, dude. A lift ticket is $23. Come on, how much do you think a hotel rental is? $50 for the day? Like, actually, we must start scrapping our winter vacations and just go in the summer down to Chile, dude. And probably the most expensive part about all of that would be the flight from here to Chile. You got your passport?
I need to re-up it.
Yeah, you might want to do that. You got your real ID yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you really have your real ID?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Because that's important. You won't be able to fly on a plane anymore without it. That goes into effect May. Well, it already went into effect, I guess.
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. I don't want to go to the airport when we go to Vail and go, he can't get on the flight. He doesn't have a passport or real ID.
But yeah, I do have to renew my passport. I'm pretty sure it's up this year.
Yeah. Submit it. Just do it. It's easy. Did it last year so I could go to Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that place. Fuck Europe. For all our European listeners, fuck you.
Nah, that was a joke. I didn't mean that. Fuck you.
Nah, I mean it. Fuck you guys. Fuck that place. I don't get all these people that are like, oh, I went backpacking through Europe. Fuck you. Go backpacking through the U.S. It's amazing. We have so much to do.
I love I don't know where exactly it came from first, but the quote, every corpse on Mount Everest was once a very motivated person.
This is true. This is very true. Yeah.
It's a great fucking line.
Yeah. And every decompressed body at the bottom of the fucking ocean was once a billionaire trying to see the Titanic. Fucking idiots. You know that company has like another company that's still doing that shit? I don't know, man. Like, if I had that level of money, why would you ever do that shit?
Yeah. What else is there to do?
Snowboard mountains across the world every goddamn day. Dude, if I had $1 billion, I'd snowboard every mountain in the world. Constantly. If I had $1 billion, like if you gave me $1 billion, which is enough to last me to the end of my days, I would literally be hopping from mountain to mountain to mountain. It would be like I'd ride here for 3 days, then I'd hit a private jet to another mountain, and I'd ride there for 3 days and just chase the fucking snow, chase the seasons, chase the mountains, and enjoy.
Just go wherever there's a good storm.
Yeah. And then when I got too old to do that, I would chase beaches and golf courses. I hate this shit of like, if you guys get so much money, you just retire early, you'll die because you'll have nothing to do. Pfft, sounds like a loser with no hobbies. like what are you talking about? And as one that was in between jobs for a hot moment of time, I felt nothing bad being in between jobs, going out and day drinking on a daily basis while looking for jobs, folks. I was doing both. I only started to feel like a piece of shit when my money started to run out. Before that time, I was like, this is great. This is amazing. I wish I won the lottery so I could continue to do this on a daily fucking basis.
Uh-huh.
People are like, you don't feel useful anymore. I think that is a very extroverted thing to say.
I played a lot of video games for those few months. It was great.
Yeah. As an introvert, fuck you guys. You die because you don't feel useful anymore. I don't feel useful now. This is not a feeling that I have in my brain pan. Like, I don't think people like realize how much the introverted mind is just like fuck everyone all the time. I get too mentally exhausted to do things that I love at times from the energy I spend on people on a daily basis. Like fucking like if I could just retire and be like I only spend time with people on my time, oh my god. Oh my god. I'd be in heaven. Be like, what do you do all the time? Anything I want. Anything I want.
It'd be
Fucking,
great.
you know how Jeff Bezos is renting out Venice? I would rent out a snowboarding mountain for the day for just me, just so I wouldn't have to see anybody but the fucking lift operators. I wouldn't have to small talk with people on the lift / borderline get into fist fights. From assholes putting bars down on my head. But, you know, like that would be amazing. I'd just be like, yeah, how much for the mountain for the day? To be like to ride the mountain? No, to like exclusively have the mountain to myself.
How much would that be?
If I had to guess on your on your average mountain, it would probably cost you like 200,000 for the day. If I had to guess.
I don't know. I feel like that might be a low ball.
Why? It's $200 a ticket. What's that? 10,000 tickets?
Okay, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably what it would cost. Because like the ticket sales, what like we could easily look that up. Let's go and look that up for like if you went to Vail Mountain, like how many people per day does Vail service in peak season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yeeple. How many people live in Chile? Oop. Oh, okay, all right. So a little bit more.
20,000 skiers.
All right, so 400,000 then, because it's like $200 a day for a lift ticket.
Mm-hmm.
So like the mountain would rent it out to you if they weren't gonna lose business. Yeah, right.
No good answer. Yeah, whatever. But
yeah, what
right.
was that bullshit I tried to tell you at the bottom?
This isn't for that. This is like property rent.
Yeah. But
hold
on,
it wasn't about the resort.
The cost of renting out an entire ski resort like Vail would be exceptionally high and would involve specific private arrangement with Vail Resorts and the owner and operators. This is not a standard rental arrangement or rental vacation, blah, blah, blah. Factors would include duration of rental, day, service required. Would you need lift operations? Of course I would need lift operations. Would you want the entire resort itself or to be some level of shared access? Yeah, so let's even call it $500,000. $500,000. I guarantee you, as long as it wasn't a holiday, because they make a lot more money on holidays. If you took a midweek day at Vail during peak season and said, I'm going to give you $500,000 for the mountain for the day, they'd be like, okay. They'd fucking do it. Because the other thing is, they'd be like, what do you need? I'll be like, just the lift operators. They'd be like, you don't need ski patrol, none of that. Nah, none of those guys. Lift operators only. One ski patrol guy. In fact, let me find out who the coolest ski patrol guy is, and they're riding with us all day. Like, that's how we would play it. We get injured, they're there to help. Done. And they'd be like, oh, that's probably like 600,000. I'd be like, all right, sure, whatever you need.
How do they justify that to the people who bought season tickets?
They just tell you the mountain's closed that day.
Yeah.
They have days where that shit happens. So like you mentioned like where the lifts were like covered with snow and
That's true. Yeah.
they just say, yeah, it's
Yeah,
closed
sorry.
today.
Yeah.
We're not open. Remember when we went to Lake Tahoe? That happened like with that blizzard that like went down. They closed the lifts. Fuck, half the days when we were there, they closed the fucking gondola.
Yeah.
And just say sorry, resort closed today for private event. But like unless you're coming in that day, like if you were coming in that day, they'd probably be like $1 million. But like if you set that up with them months in advance, they could easily warn people this is a blackout date.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They'd be like, this is a blackout date. Nobody can ride this day. We're going to be closed this day for whatever reason that they have to make up the excuse for. And you could have the fucking whole mountain to yourself for a day. I would assume a far easier thing would be we're closing these lifts today. And you could be like, I want to rent this portion of the mountain for today. And that would be an easy thing. They would just put up signs, this lift closed for a private event. I bet you that wouldn't be that much. I bet you for like $100,000 you could rent out like a lift or two on the mountain for your exclusive use.
Be interesting.
As long as it's not like the main lift of the mountain, you could probably do it. Like, you know, like once you get up the main gondola or whatever, and you're like, okay, I want this left side of the mountain over here exclusively for me and my friends for the day, they would do it. Why wouldn't they? That's easy. They're still getting their full like daily ticket value plus another 100, 200 grand on top because you've rented those two lifts for just you and your exclusive party. And they'd probably be like, okay, we'll do that, but you got to get some like catering from us too. Sure, whatever. Another 100 grand, 300 grand. This whole left half of the mountain for the day. Baller, dude. And that would mean that would be like the interest for like 2 months on my $1 billion. You know, that's the dream. That's how you play it. Put that $1 billion in a fucking high interest savings account and you live off the fucking interest. Because what is it if you were if you were getting a 4% yield off of your fucking $1 billion a year, what would that be?
Oh.
Like far too much money, right?
You trying to make me math right now?
That's right, dude. I'm putting you to work today, not Jamie. Yeah, it's a lot of zeros.
Still 40 million.
40 million. 40 million. So like even if you assume like, okay, you're gonna get taxed at like 50% of that, 20 million a year you have to live off of. Oh, just interest, bro. Just interest. You got 20 million a year. Yeah. So like 300,000 for the day, nothing. Nothing. That'd be nothing. Be like, yeah, I want that mountain for today. Yeah, okay, all right.
That's 55 grand a day to live on.
Yeah. I think I might be able to do that, dude. I don't know. I might have to slum it at 54 grand a day, dude. Fucking insane. It's just insane levels of money. Like that's why I laugh so hard when they're protesting like Bezos being in Venice. It's like Bezos doesn't give a shit, dude. That guy's got more money than God.
What do you think is actually in his bank account?
His personal bank account?
Yeah.
How much is Amazon worth now?
I don't know. How much is Amazon worth? Is that a real number?
Yeah, 2.37 trillion market cap. So we'll call it 2.5 trillion. I not Bezos' net worth, but I bet you liquid and cash, Bezos probably has $10 billion in cash.
Jeez.
You could try to search. $10 billion. Yeah, look. yeah. That's what I would do too. If my shit's worth 2.5 trillion, I'd keep about 10 billion in liquid cash. Jesus. Which is 5% of his total worth.
Crazy.
Yeah. So Bezos is like, oh, Venice hates me. Fuck those peasants. You know that's what he's thinking too. He's like, I don't give a fuck about that. But I will say his new wife is a downgrade from his ex-wife. Have you seen them?
No.
Look up the girl he's marrying, and then look up his ex-wife, and go, what the fuck was he thinking?
What is when did he start Amazon?
When we were going to college.
Yeah.
Remember,
So,
Amazon was selling used college books. That's how they started.
gotcha. So like he went from that to this in
Yeah, I know. It
not
makes
a
you feel
whole
like a
lot,
piece of
yeah.
shit, right? Ugh, ugh. That's his new wife, right? Jesus
Extreme
Christ.
reaction.
It's not an extreme reaction. Look at his old wife. What the fuck, man? Talk about downgrade. And by the way, his ex-wife, that one that's there, that's cute, looks amazing, looks homely. That was the fucking one that married him when he was poor. That was the girl
That's
that
the
was
shitty part.
That
Yeah.
was the one that was there. Yeah, don't feel too shitty. She became the richest woman in the world when he divorced her.
Yeah.
She got I think she got 52 billion from the divorce, something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, and
good for her.
she's one of those people that's part of that club that's dedicated to dying with zero of their wealth left, which is kind of awesome.
Huh.
So she's like, by the time she dies, she's going to donate all of it to charity.
Ah, that is awesome.
I think that's cool as shit.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of your kids, whatever. You want to leave your kids like $1 billion each. If you're a multi-billionaire like that, give each of your kids $1 billion, and then the rest put to charitable organizations by the time you die. I'm 100% on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, listen, you give any person $1 billion, they're set for the rest of their fucking life. Yeah. Then you take the rest of the money, donate to charities of your choice. Awesome. I'm here for it. 100%. Rockefeller and those guys towards the end of their life realized the same thing. They're like, well, I can't take it with me, so like, what should I do with it? And they all like, that's what started that trend of like philanthropy, of just like donating your excess wealth to charities and shit when you die. Not the companies that they started. The companies still like kept their capital and whatnot, but their personal wealth they gave away, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. Like
should be more common,
when you get towards the end, like, dude, if I'm a multi-billionaire like that and I get to like 90, I'm gonna keep $1 billion for myself, $1 billion for each of my kids, and then the rest, like at 90, I'm gonna be like, give it to this, and this, and I'm out. But like, what about if you die and your billion's not done yet? Give the remainder, split evenly amongst the rest of my kids. Done. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, if you squander fucking $500 million somehow by the time I die, you've got some money like coming in still. But you know, I don't know. It's just wild to me, some of that shit. But yeah, Bezos definitely. But you want to look when Amazon was founded? I'm pretty sure it was like 2003, 2004. Not founder. When was Amazon founded? 1994. No way. Named it Cadabra Inc. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. Yeah, launched as an online bookseller.
Yeah, I know that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, 94.
Yeah, because even when we were like going to college from high school, Amazon was still only selling books. Everybody was using it for used college book.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably buy regular books too, but that like the bulk of people that I knew using Amazon back then, it was for used college books.
Now it's crazy.
Yeah, fucking wild, right? Nothing like that happens anymore. We're cooked. Society's just cooked. I feel like we went on a rant today, started by Asmongold, but he'd be proud. Kingmaker would be proud. The Baldy Balder would be proud. I love that.
Baldur's Gate. You think he played Baldur's Gate?
He probably did. I love that joke that like he's balding. Like the guy's got fucking like, yeah, he might have a little like hair recession maybe, but he's got like fucking that full like long hair. I still don't get where like the balding thing comes from.
It's just the hairline.
I will say the funny thing with that because I think he's part of like the OTK shit. The funny part with that is like Asmongold is just like, you know, your typical millennial that I love it. I love how he embodies millennial energy so much. But the balding thing that's always funny is the Emaru one, where she like lifts back her hair and like they Photoshop it so it's like she's got like an 8 head. She's like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Yeah, I love that all those guys are in Austin because of the fact that Asmongold has lived in Austin his whole life. He didn't do some shit of like, you know, everybody escaped California and moved. That's just where he's lived. And I still love that he was like a piece of shit back in the day in WoW. And like when they had loot councils on raids, he would just steal the loot. He'd be like, it's mine now. And he's like, people spam that shit all the time of like, we're going to say who the people stealing the loot are and shit like this. And nobody's ever going to watch you in a group. He's like, I did it on all of my alts on my main character. And the next week, everybody was inviting me back to group again. He's like, people did not give a shit. It was all about like if you could clear content or not. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I would steal the fucking loot every fucking week. He's like, people can have virtue shit in their mind all they fucking want, but nobody ever fucking does it. I was like, well, he's not wrong. You learn a lot from playing World of Warcraft about the tendencies of people, dude. It's also where you learn from raids that the 80-20 rule holds true. Yeah. 20% of the raid is doing 80% of the fucking work. And the other 80% there are just along for the ride. But you know what the worst part is? That 80% makes up the 20% difference between you killing the boss or not, and it enrages everybody else. You're like, you motherfucker, couldn't you just do 5% more DPS? Or 5% more heals? And then the tanks get blamed for everything. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I love tanking, but I hated fucking people that were like, why didn't you just like tank better? But like, what do you mean?
Why didn't you tank better?
Yeah, like, were those things not on me when I died? I did my part of the goal here.
Why didn't you mitigate better, Phil?
I held the threat. Why didn't you fucking heal me more or kill the things faster?
You're supposed to mitigate your own damage. Don't get hurt.
I do.
Keep the threat and don't die.
Don't make me miss playing WoW. I mean, I do miss playing WoW. I just don't miss the community. But and I don't miss the devs not listening to the community at all. But yeah, dude, when I stopped playing towards the end of Dragonflight, I was one of the few like tanks at that time that was still putting damage mitigation in the rotation. Because tanks just became an extra DPS towards the end. They're like Here's a Storm did that too. They separated out tanks and bruisers. So bruisers are tanky, but they still do damage. That's what like tanks devolved into in WoW. They just became bruisers. You're like, you're going to pull everything and hold it a little bit, but you also still need to do damage. And to an extent, they started doing it with healers too in Mythic Plus. They expect healers to output damage while healing everybody through shit. And I was like, I can't do this. It's too much. Mm-hmm. I used to be able to do it in Shadowlands. It was fun when I played a Disc Priest because it was like the right brain thing to me where like, okay, Disc used to be easier in Shadowlands. You bubbled everyone and then you do your damage rotation and they just healed. It got a little bit more complicated in Dragonflight. That's why I switched to Holy. I liked Holy more. Holy was just like, you heal people constantly. And I'm like, I can do that. I understand that. That makes sense to me. In Shadowlands, Holy had way too many buttons, and it didn't really make sense. And I was like, I don't like this. But yeah, I've played every class.
Okay.
I understand to some degree like what stuff is going on for different things. I'm not the best at all of it, but I've played it all. I've done range damage too, which I know you're like, how do you do this when you've only done melee? I still love back in the day where you're like, how the fuck do you dodge all this shit when you're in its face? I'm like, I don't know, man.
I can't dodge it. I'm all the way back here.
Yeah, it just hits the right part of my brain where I'm just like, all right, dance. Dude, click and do DPS. Which, that's right. For any of you listening that actually play WoW, I'm a filthy clicker. Mm-hmm. Filthy clicker. And I did so much fucking damage, it's not funny. It would annoy the piss out of people.
For those who don't know what he's talking about, he means he actually takes his mouse and instead of using his keyboard to set off his skills, he's clicking on the skills with his mouse while he's also using his mouse to move around and look and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a filthy fucking keyboard turner, and I click to do damage. And I was still like in our guild in fucking in Dragonflight, one of the top 5 DPS. People would be so mad. I'd be like, yeah, I click. And some of the people I did Mythic Plus with, because I was always getting the Keystone Master, they're like, wait a second, you're clicking? I'm like, yeah. And I would click the heal too, and their mind would be blown by that. Even Brian wouldn't understand how I do that, because people use macros so that like you can hover over players and hit your buttons to heal. I would click a player, click my heal button, and then click another player, and then click the heal button. And I would still out heal so many people. It was disgusting.
Uh-huh.
I went in towards the end of a Dragonflight, I was pugging on my Holy Priest, and I actually got legendary parses with my Holy Priest for healing.
I don't know what that means.
So there's the Raider IO, and the Raider IO like will tell you like what your percentages are for like different categories, and there's a different one for raids. But basically, like, if you're in the 99th percentile of a category, you get a legendary parse, like the shit turns orange. So I had 99th percentile healing parses as holy going into pugs just because I just spammed fucking heals. And it drives people nuts because, like, holy is such a great, like, back then was such a great, like, AoE healer. I would just, like, focus the tank and then, like, AoE heal everything. But the parses only care about your healing. They don't give a fuck if you overheal. So I just pump heals. Like, it was crazy. And I was laughing so hard because I would outparse, like, some of our main raid healers just pugging. Even in our heroic raids, I had I had 2 characters heroic raid qualified. I had my warrior qualified as DPS and tank. And then I had my healer qualified. And so depending on the raid makeup that night, I would either tank or heals. So I got heroic clears on both like my my warrior and my priest. Yeah, I love it, dude.
Fucking nerd.
I love that game so much. And it let me... What was that? Ba-doop, ba-doop.
I don't know.
Something disconnected, reconnected.
It did.
Hopefully not our mics.
That looks okay.
All right. But anyway, I think we've ranted enough for one day. Mm-hmm. It started off with Asmongold, and then it took a silly turn, which is not unlike an Asmongold video.
And then went back to WoW, so...
Still, not unlike the Asmongold. An Asmongold video. Someone called it from now on Wasmongold. Wow, and Asmongold.
Is that his evil Wario twin? Asmongold?
It should be. I hope he listens to this and decides to make that his evil persona, Wasmongold.
All right, thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah, and again, as always, subscribe, like, follow, leave us a comment, and you can find us on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify.
Adios.
See ya.